was thinking about how many people feel like they're just treading water. You're working harder, but the system around you just keeps taking a bigger cut. Sometimes it's not about how hard you're pushing, it's actually the environment that you're in. Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya, and today we're looking at something I think a lot of us feel. It is the sense that you're working your tail off, but the system you're in just keeps taking a bigger slice of the pie. We're told just to work harder, but sometimes it's not you, it's the environment. I'm sitting down with Cintia Arnhoffer today. Cynthia was living in Europe and felt like she was stuck in a bit of a grind with taxes and regulations. She decided to make a massive call and move her life and her business to Dubai. Cynthia started out in Europe, spent years working hard in a system where high taxes and constant regulations made her feel like she was just running on a treadmill. She eventually decided that she'd had enough, and feeling financially exhausted, she made a move to Dubai all on her own to start afresh. It wasn't a small thing to do. She had to rebuild her entire life and career from scratch in a completely different culture. These days, Cynthia is a co-owner of a real estate firm and helps other business owners set up their own structures in the UAE. She specializes in international tax and wealth, but more than that, she understands the shift in the mindset that happens when you move to a place that actually lets you keep what you earn. She believes that sometimes you don't need to work harder, you just need to change your environment to one that supports your growth. It's about finding that freedom to build something lasting. She's here to chat to us about how that can shift changed everything for her, not just the money side of things, but the freedom that comes when you're actually allowed to grow. This is going to be a good episode. Cynthia, welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Cynthia, tell us a little bit about your journey from childhood to now. How did you get here?
Okay, so I have been born and raised in Hungary. This is where I have started out. And I was 19 when I found myself working in 3 jobs next to school. And then I was just breaking even in the end of the month, I felt like I have no place to grow. There was no possibilities to live an extraordinary life or just anything above average. So I was 21 when I have decided to move abroad alone. So I got the possibility to move to Denmark. I moved all by myself to Copenhagen. Then later on, I took my sister and my mom to relocate to Denmark too. And it was amazing upgrade after Hungary. I mean, Denmark is wonderful. It's a very stable country. However, I landed up paying 60%, and I felt it's just so unfair that like 60% of my income goes straight to a black hole and I'm never going to see this money. And I again felt that I hit the ceiling and there is no improvement anymore. So I have decided if I want to flourish and prosper, I need to change the environment. And then I got the possibility to move to Dubai during COVID times in 2021. And then actually today is my 5th year anniversary here.
Congratulations on the 5 years.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that feeling like you were working just to maintain your position back in Europe. What was that breaking point that made you decide to leave everything behind?
There was an exact moment, actually. I have been married for 10 years, and then what do you do after a divorce? You work. You want to take your mind off these things and then you just want to make extra money. So I was thinking, okay, I'm not just going to put extra effort into my work. And I was invoicing on an hourly basis. So instead of invoicing like 250 hours a month, I invoiced 400 hours. And I was so excited to get that extra money. And I take this long vacation, take my mind off everything. And then, like end of the quarter, my accountant called and he's like, Cynthia, you know that you went to the 60% tax rate because you invoice more than normal. What do you mean? Yeah. Basically, if you have a certain income and you go above, then it's higher level of taxes. And like, are you telling me that by working more, I actually earned less? Because if I have known this, I would be just sitting in front of Netflix the whole month, Still, it's like, and I felt so helpless. I couldn't do anything. Like you're standing there with a tax bill after 450 hours. Because I have been working for like 4 months like this. And I actually landed up having tax debts. And I felt it's unfair and this is not, I cannot do anything with it. So I decide, and I remember I was complaining to my sister, like, I need to move out of this place, somewhere where there is sunshine, good food, and no taxes. And then she laughed, this seems so unreal. And then a few months later, I actually got the possibility to move to Dubai. And I remember when people were telling me, there are no taxes in Dubai. We have no personal income tax. We have no taxes. And then I had to keep listening this for months to believe.
Mm, that would have been music to your ears.
It is unrealistic to have a place without taxes. Something is wrong. So I came here and it took me months to switch my mind to believe that all the money I made is mine.
Yeah. And when you heard about Dubai having, good life there, no taxes and so on, how did that affect your confidence?
In the beginning, I felt like this is too good to be true. I have never been to Dubai before. I'm Hungarian and we have quite some false data about the Middle East. So I felt very conflicting inside me. So I came here for a visit first for 2 weeks and I landed in the airport. I came to the city and I'm like, I am never leaving this place. I just felt this incredible relief and this freedom, that now finally I can move forward. I felt like I'm getting onto a fast lane of life. So this is the first time I felt again that I can move forward. So that's really a confidence boost, actually.
Yeah. And moving to Dubai alone, rebuilding your entire life from scratch with a new culture, that's that's pretty hard stuff to do. What was the hardest shift for you had to make to internally, not externally, but internally to survive that first year?
Yeah, I mean, it was so scary, because the Middle East is not Europe. I'm not saying it's worse or better. It's just a complete different system. People speak different. They interact with each other differently. Differently, the culture is different. It's a very religious environment. We have 110 different nationalities. It's because in Europe you have a system how we work and how we interact with each other and how we do business. How we speak with each other. And here, everything I have learned, it became completely the opposite. So I had to run into several walls. I made so many mistakes in the beginning. I was trying to use all the things I have learned in Europe and nothing worked. Like just an example, if you are a woman here in Dubai and you want to conduct business, you cannot be like in Europe. In Europe, you have to be very strong, very harsh, to make your way in a business life. Here, you cannot do that. You have to be nice and humble and kind, how women should act and use the feminine energy instead of the effort. So it was really, but for me, it was the only thing that I'm not going back to Denmark. I'm not going back. I'm not paying taxes again. I'm not suffering from the darkness for 9 months. So I just knew there is no way back. So I had to
Yeah.
just go.
Isn't that interesting that you go to a different country like Dubai and you can actually be yourself in the sense that you can be in your feminine and you can be kind and loving and caring with people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the Western world, it's almost like you have to
The
it's
men.
yeah, you've got to step into your masculine side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to
It's,
be strong and you cannot show emotions because then you're
yeah.
weak. And then the demand is just like so much higher. I have been working with all my bosses, they were men. And,
Yeah.
I've been raised in a different way. And I've been raised in a culture that you have to shout and you have to be strong and you have to use a lot of effort to get things done. And here, I cannot get anything done with this attitude.
No. And it just shows that the Western culture is actually not right. It
Yeah,
doesn't work right because I feel it's dysfunctional, to be
I
honest.
feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas, you go to the Eastern culture or you go to Dubai and the Middle East and everyone's, like there you gotta care about people, you gotta be nice to each other. And
Yeah.
that's how as humans we're meant to be, right?
Yeah.
We
I
we
agree.
yeah. So it just shows you that the Western culture is not all what says it is. Now, in that, how did you deal with the isolation and starting from zero?
I don't want to say I was crying a lot for the first 6 months. But I was close to crying a lot. Like I remember, like in the beginning, I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?" Like I don't know a single person. I have no friends. I have no family. My family is like 7 hours flight. Like obviously, at the beginning, I didn't earn the money. Like I made no commission. I was on just basic salary because I didn't know how to close in the beginning or how to deal with everything. And I was many times feeling down, like but the only thing kept me going is that I don't want to go back. I'm not moving backwards, I'm moving forward. So this time is gonna pass. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna adapt. I always adapt. It just takes time and a lot of learning. So I just kept going. And then honestly, the first 6 months was really rough. Then after a year, it was better. And now it's like a completely different life. I have nothing to complain about.
You're living your dream life now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, then you will meet a lot of people, and you have your network, and you have your circle. And some of my friends moved here, to be closer to me, or they got possibility to here. And then every weekend is just like feels like a holiday, So it's really a different lifestyle.
Yeah. And what did the first year in Dubai teach you about your own resilience?
I mean, first is that I had to adopt to the culture, and then I couldn't be I don't want to say arrogant, but this know best that I know everything because in Europe I really got to know a lot of things, but here everything is different. It's okay, you cannot really give up, you know. There is a lot of good example around you. Like wherever you go in Dubai, there is just you see that big buildings and fancy cars and fancy clothes and expensive watches. So you can see that people like you, like average people, they have reached a very high level of wealth. You can be rich by coming from nowhere. So I knew that I can get there, but I just can't give up.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have. Yeah, especially when you go to another country. I love the point you make about changing your environment, but more powerful that than just working harder, right? Now, but how did that shift in perspective change the way you actually show up for your business?
Yeah, so the first 4 years I have been an employee. I knew I'm not kind of like an employee type, but I also knew that I'm not ready to do my own. I had to learn a lot. I knew I'm not ready. I knew that I need to improve myself. I need to improve lots of my skills. But then at one point, again, I felt like a year ago that now I can do my own. Because I also have seen that if you are an employee, I have been on basic salary and commission, but there is also a certain limit, what you can achieve. And I had, again, I felt I reached my limits and I maxed out I could from being an employee and I was ready to take. So this is why with another partner, we opened our own company and now we are employing others. So somehow it's interesting, but there is always a point when you reach that you are ready to take the next step.
Yeah. And why do we often think working harder is the only answer?
I think it's just so deeply engraved in society. This is what you see everywhere. This is what you hear on TV or in the videos or the movies and the struggles and on social media. You need to work hard. But I remember I had this cognition, like this, like I was sitting with my friend and then he said, like, Cynthia, you don't need to work harder. And oh my God, I didn't even think about it. I did not even think about it to not work harder, but to smart. So I was thinking, okay, so instead of working hard, I need to build systems, that people work for me and I invest my money. So then one point I'm out of this working all the time. I honestly didn't think about it until somebody pointed out to me.
Once that burden of the tax was gone,
Mm.
how did that change your daily energy?
I felt alive. I actually arrived to Dubai with a tax debt. I owed money to the tax office. It took me actually 1.5 years to pay it off. I calculated if I stay in Denmark, it will take me 10 years because you cannot go above a certain level. And in Dubai, I remember I sent the money to the tax office. I got the receipt that I'm tax free. And I just felt this incredible relief that I can breathe again and I'm free. I don't owe anything, and now I am ready to finance my own life. Instead of giving it to the tax office, now I decide. Cutting your chains off.
And how did you celebrate that feeling? Like, what did you do that day when you went and paid it all off and you were like, I'm debt free now?
It's so funny. Like I was in the office late night when I sent the last payment to the taxes, and I got the receipt, and I remember sending the, oh my God, I'm free. There's nobody to tell. But after I finished my debt, I opened a savings account, and I have decided that instead of like paying taxes, now a certain amount of money of my income will go straight from a savings account. So this is how I just figured out that instead of spending all my money, I will from now on just save up for further investments.
Yeah. And that must be a great feeling to feel like, you're putting something away, but you're investing in yourself and not investing in the tax department. For business owners who are listening to this episode who feel overtaxed and stuck, where do you even begin to the process of looking at Dubai-based structure?
I mean, most of the clients are already thinking, they became clients because they were already thinking that this tax doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that we don't have to pay taxes, but like when it comes to above 40, 50%, that's getting really unfair. So these people were already looking for a solution. So I usually provide a free consultation to make sure that we comply with all the rules of each country. So first, we really need to do a very deep first interview or like poll to find out the purposes of the owner, what are they trying to achieve, what is the business of the company, what are the activities, where they are located, what are the future goals. So there's the beginning part is usually just getting lots of information and then find out what would be the correct structure for them.
And what are the most common fears that you hear from entrepreneurs?
In the first years, I was keep listening. It was mainly from the UK. It's too good to be true. People did not believe that it's legal to not pay taxes. I could not believe it. I'm like somebody told me there are no taxes, I jumped. And then these people hesitated. I did not get as many clients in the beginning. In 2 years ago, the corporate tax was introduced to Dubai. Only corporate tax, 9%, above a certain income. This is when I got most of my clients. Like, finally, we have taxes, corporate taxes. So this is not actually true and it's not a scam. So interesting. Before, it was really harder to get clients. So I think it's just like such a strong false data that this is the only way to run a country, to tax everyone. When we have one of the most rich country in the world, and Dubai has no oil, mainly, and it's still working without taxes.
Yeah. And it's just taxes were created back in I think it was, I don't know, the 40s or 50s or something like that. And it was for that time, but it's like it's just carried on. And, I heard Elon Musk talk about this. He said that in the future, what we need to do is stop paying taxes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen in the future anyway, but yeah, it's interesting that you work so hard and then the government takes,
Yeah.
a big
The
portion of that
first few
money.
months you work for your government, you work for free, let's say the first 4 or 5 months. And then the 5th or 6th months, you start to work for yourself and for your family. And how does this even make sense,
Mm,
When there's so many things the government can do to generate their own income. We have like 8 or 11 different major sources for the government to make money, and we don't have to be taxed. Like, we pay for the services the government provides. I pay for my visa, for my insurance, for the license of my company, for the address of my company, for the office, and these are all. But I rather pay for services which I'm using than pay for something which I have no control of.
yeah, and we're finding here in New Zealand, like in Auckland here where I live, the mayor is talking about raising the council rates, right? And it's something like 7.8%. And I was glad that last year I sold my house, I got my money out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need to buy a house.
Oh,
'Cause-
yeah, I agree with you.
no, yeah. Now, is relocating full time, is that the only way to see these benefits?
I mean, it depends on your own, most of the clients, they don't relocate. They just relocate the headquarters of the company and then they come every 6 months. Some of them really loves Dubai and then they just completely relocated with their family. It's really based on their own decision. I mean, I'm not saying this is the best place on planet Earth or this is like, there are no disadvantages. Like, everybody needs to decide for themselves. Dubai has their own benefits and disadvantages. It can be also hard, or it's hot in the summer, or it's like far away from your family. So I do not take up this relocation unless the client is asking for it.
Mm, yeah. Now you're heavily involved in the real estate side of things now.
Yeah.
So what makes Dubai such a unique environment for international investors compared to other global hubs?
So I have been seeing, like, I have been doing my research on other global hubs, but somehow based on the taxes, always Dubai comes out best, because when you are purchasing a property here, the property gets taxed where the property is, not where the owner resides. So if I'm living in Hungary and I have my apartment here in Dubai, I pay my taxes on the income from the apartment, and it's 0%. So, and usually, like, majority of the areas, they are making 6 to 12% return on investment per year. But there are areas which made above 110%. So it's really like, Dubai is kept being built. They are like always building new districts. And there is always like good areas to invest, and then you can make a lot of money. And then I
Yeah.
have never seen this anywhere, like there was a client 3 years ago, he bought a property for $125,000. And 3 years later, we sold it for 310,
Mm,
in 3 years. He just bought somewhere outside of Dubai. But that by that time, in 3 years from now, it became a completely developed district, and then it was one of the major districts, and then he just sold it for triple price.
yeah. What's the common trap that people fall into when they're investing in Dubai?
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Everybody, like people, like, I want to buy an apartment in Dubai facing the Burj Khalifa with Burj Khalifa view. I'm like, what? Why? Like, what? First of all, what's your purpose? Are you going to live there? No, 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 it's just for investment. Like, then, if you are set for investment, you are going to rent it for those who are living here. If I live here, I don't care if I have Burj Khalifa view or not. You know what I care about? That I'm close to the highway so I can get to work in time. So that this mindset, we need to see the Burj Khalifa. No, we don't need to see the Burj Khalifa. Everything with Burj Khalifa is just like, it's like triple price, for investment is.
Yeah, yeah. And what is the lifestyle like there? That what what do you enjoy most about living in Dubai?
What I enjoy most,
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy and that we have so many different nationalities. Like, there are so many nationalities I would have never been able to see in a lifetime. I remember I went for a dinner with some friends, and I have been sitting there with the Romanian, Lebanese, Moroccan, German, American girls. Like, there was a like girls' night out, and then, like, how would I ever meet so many nationalities in one dinner? And then you learn a lot from other cultures. I love the Middle East culture. Like, this Arabic culture is beautiful. There's a lot of value in the Islamic culture. I learned a lot. So I think it's like you can always improve yourself by taking the good out of other cultures.
Yeah. What about the food wise?
Oh, the food. My mom is so proud of me. Finally, I'm eating. I was always labeled as a picky one. Cynthia, you don't eat anything. It's like you're eating like a bird, and everything just makes like a stomach pain for me. And when I figured out that the Hungarian food, is just not made for me. I don't even cook it at home anymore. I love the Arabic food, and you can have everything. You can have Asian, you can have Arabic food, you can go to an American restaurant, but like whatever you want, we have everything here in Dubai.
Yeah. Now let's go back to talking about the market itself. How do you see the market changing over the next few years?
I have been seeing the last 5 years, so there is always just keep improving. Like, what this area is very different from others, that we have huge relocation, like 500,000 people per year moving to Dubai. This is incredible amount of people. And
Wow.
also what I have seen, let's say in 2022, Dubai opened 45,000 new companies. By 23 August, it became 78,000. So there is always like incredible amount of improvement. Now we have a little bit of a slowdown on the market. We had this situation in the Middle East, but it's really just a slowdown or just a correction, and we expecting everything to be back to normal by the end of the year. sales is still going on, the construction is still going, and I have 4 constructions next to me, So I think Dubai is gonna still be the place to move and invest in the next 20 years for sure.
Yeah. So for someone coming to Dubai, what money backing would you need to land and then set yourself up? What would you need?
I mean, if you are opening your the company setup is around $15,000, including your visa, Emirates ID, your bank account opening, your insurance. Yeah. Then let's say an apartment is it's about $1,500, $2,000 per month, depending on the area or which building. So, like, it depends, like, how many people, what are they doing? But, like, you need to say, I have been set aside money so I can cover myself for the first 3 months. So, yeah, it's based on what we are doing here. But for the company setup, it's 15,000, rent is 2,000.
Mm, okay. So looking back at the person that you were before you moved, what is the biggest thing that you had to unlearn about money and success to get to where you are today?
Like this mindset of I don't have to work hard to earn a good money, and also that there are no ceilings, like in Denmark you hit a ceiling and that's it, and then there is no improvement. And here it's like there is always a higher level, and there is always a higher level, so I have to keep studying or learning improvement, like self-improvement courses, like sales courses. Like I always have to be on the top of the game because there is always more to be achieved.
Yeah. Do you know Marilyn Monroe said one of her quotes was that the sky is not the limit. Do you know what the limit is? Your mind is the limit, right? And
Yeah,
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 and when the system creates a ceiling, you break through that ceiling and you keep going, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and that's what you did. You you
yeah.
broke.
And I think Dubai is the best place for it, and that's what I have seen. Like when you have seen people coming from third world countries, and they are owning like a supermarket chain, or like somebody was a hairdresser in Syria and now he's running several restaurants, then you have seen that the environment is so powerful. Like you have to be in the environment which allows you to break free and then be yourself and improve. And then yeah, you need to work hard and you need to get lucky, but it's also the environment. Either you have this place where you can build things or there is just walls.
So how has your mindset changed compared to when you were in Europe?
I mean, I just feel like I'm a completely different person. I'm way more positive. I'm way more planning to the future. In uh, in Europe, I just felt okay. So I have plans for the next year or something, but I never really planned 5 years, 10 years, or I never had an idea scene worked out for my life. And here is like I have my idea scene how I wanna live, and then I always aim for higher. So I think it's just like these limitations are off.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say to someone who thinks that this move is too risky for them?
So don't be afraid. I think everybody is just afraid, but it's like what is too risky is to never try and then just stuck because nothing in this universe is static. Either things are going up or they are going down. Nothing stays the same. So if you stay the same somewhere, then you mean you are going down. So yeah, it's risky. Maybe you don't make it, maybe it's not for you, or maybe you don't get the correct connections. But if you never try, like I was thinking, so I should go to Dubai, but what if this is gonna be like such a, you know? But if I'm 75, what I'm gonna think back? Did I really tried everything? Did I use all my possibilities, or I'm gonna be the grandmother who's crying? Yeah, if I would have gone to Dubai, you know what?
Yeah, yeah. So tell us, paint us a picture a little bit about I know we talked a little bit about the lifestyle before, but I'd like to really hear about what is life really like in Dubai and what are the kind of things that you get up to and yeah, what do you love most about Dubai?
Yeah, I mean, Dubai is it's like a city which never sleeps. Yeah. So we have incredible amount of networking events, expos, exhibitions. We had like a crypto expo with 700,000 people here, or we have the Gulf food with 1.2 million people. So there is lots of networking events. And in Dubai, the most important is that you get out and then you meet with people and then you talk to strangers and then you go to networking events. We have always clients here, they come for vacation and they want to see apartments or So Dubai it's very, very, very active. I feel like it's always just Monday morning and then Thursday and then night. So that's the most important. That the connections here are the most important thing. That who do you know? You know, if you know people, you can get a lot of things done.
Yeah.
And also, it's very interesting. Like I'm a real estate broker, yeah, but other real estate brokers are helping out. So there is this no
No
conflict or
competition.
competition. Yeah. Or like there is this local person, like local Emirati who is doing company setup. He invited me for a podcast because I'm European. I have a different mindset. I'm doing the same, but he didn't feel like we are competing, you know, because we don't have the same audience or the same clientele. And he just wanted to help out. And it's very interesting that people are not envy or not jealous. They, okay, I cannot help you, but they call my brother or call my cousin and is going to help you out. And it's like, I have never experienced this in Dubai or not in, I have never not experienced this in Europe.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. Now, are you working with clients in just in Dubai, or are you working with clients also outside of Dubai as well?
My clients are mainly outside of the UAE.
Mainly
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I have mostly European clients. Obviously Hungarian because I speak Hungarian and I have a big network, but I also have Dutch clients from UK. I have one from the US. I have a German. So I have mainly Europeans. They want to set up their company here. So they want somebody European who knows the rules back at home, or the Hungarians because they feel confident. I don't have local clients. It's very interesting that, I have to say this politely, but you know, the Arabs, they are doing business within the Arabs. So not necessarily the men and Arab men, not necessarily gonna go and do business with the white woman. It's just not their culture. Is nothing wrong, or yeah, it's just like this. So for me, it's the Europeans are I also understand them way better, I feel.
Yeah. Wow, it sounds like an amazing place to be, and who knows, maybe one day I might come and visit.
Everybody should visit this, but seriously, this is like a bucket list, you know, like you cannot die without seeing Dubai. Because it's so hard also to describe, you know, this place. It's clean, you know, like wherever you go. Once I did this video that I took a white sock and I walked around the shopping mall for like an hour, and then my sock was not dirty, or I just wiped everything with a white cloth, and then everything is just clean. The public beach, you can easily go barefoot. You know, it's like, and people are nice. They like on the old styles. You know, they opening the door for you. They taking your bags out of your hands. You have for ladies, like you have the ladies ticket everywhere. You know, I went for renewing my visa, and it's like, madam, come here, ladies ticket, go first. There was 300 people online. My number was 323. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have my entire day here. You know, and then they just took me out of the line and put me first because I'm a woman. So this is like so triggering. You don't want to go back.
Yeah. What about culturally? I know culturally Islamic women have to wear certain things. What about Western women?
No, I'm covering for the Islamic religion. So the ladies who decided to cover themselves, they cover themselves. We have lots of ladies who are they are still practicing Islam, so but they are Muslims, but they are not fully covering themselves. So it's really based on the culture and how religious they are. But for the Western ladies, we have no regulations. You know, we do have this that we have to be respectful for because of the culture, but we don't have regulations. So we go with our bathing suit to the beach. You know, I'm wearing bikini, or when we go out, that I can be in shorts. I do like to respect, and I'm not wearing anything like my back is not out, or I don't have too short skirt. But I think it's also I came here. This is an Islamic country, so I need to respect the culture. And it also just saves so much headache, to be honest. You know, because when you're walking with your man, and then there is, you know, like something out, and then he looks, and then you are angry. But you know, it's not his fault. He's looking, you know. So for I understand it's also just like so peaceful to not have this distraction, you know.
People will be listening to this. What would you like to tell them about how they can connect with you, how they can contact you, but also how they can work with you as well?
Yeah, so I have all my social media links. I guess it's gonna be listed on the site. So I have email, I have WhatsApp, I have social media. So it's very easy to reach me. I always answer all my messages within a few hours. So if they send me like a straight message that they would like to set up their company or invest in Dubai real estate, we can set up a free consultation. This is free for everyone. So then we can just go over what are the plans and what they want to do, and then we just take it further from there.
Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put those links into the show notes, but also you'll get a dedicated page on the website. And on that page, you'll have your bio, your links. It will have the videos, it will have the article, and also a practical guide, which will be written from the transcript and the article, which people can download and they can start to effectively apply that in their life.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now, we're at the quickfire questions now. So we've got 6 really quickfire questions. You can answer these in a single word or a short sentence. And the first question for you is, how do you define success, and has that definition changed for you over time?
Success is to set a goal, achieving it, and set a bigger goal for me. And I have seen that I have been from coming to Hungary, 3-shift job, to have my own company. I think this is a success for me.
Yeah. Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
I don't know if I can name one person. Usually there are like like normal people really inspire me. My clients, and they also come from nowhere and they build an empire. I've been reading a lot from Grant Cardone, for example. I have been also doing the Grant Cardone University for years. I have lots of friends from Miami, from the Grant Cardone team. So I think my clients, my friends,
What is something that you believe that others may disagree with?
I do believe we can always aim higher and we can get it. And I do believe that honest and straight work is gonna get you somewhere. This is the thing I believe. Like, you have to be ethical in life, you have to have very strong personal values, and you have to always help others if you want to succeed.
Yeah. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Or don't be afraid and learn more languages. Just go faster, and don't be afraid, it's gonna work out anyway.
Yeah. And what is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
I would like to share that I know that this is very scary to change, but if you have never tried, you actually cut yourself off the possibility. So nobody can stop you but yourself. So if you have a positive mindset and you trust yourself, you trust your skills, you can get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah. The last question for you is, what does it mean to be a champion and have a champion mindset?
For me, is that not only me who succeed, but the environment around me. So I think I'm as good as I can help others to be better too. For me, it's very important to give back to society. So you actually give to charity, you volunteer, you help others. You cannot be just successful by yourself. So you have to pull your friends, your family forward. So for me, the most important thing is, if I'm moving forward, I'm pulling everybody around me to get better too. And this is what I want to see, that my environment becomes better around me.
Yeah. Thank you, Cynthia. It's been a really awesome talking to you today, and
Yeah.
thank you for being so open as well. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we don't have to stay stuck in a story just because it's familiar. And sometimes the most successful thing you can do is to give yourself the permission to find a better environment. If you want
Yeah.
to learn more about Cynthia's work and how to explore these opportunities, check the show notes, check the episode page on the Champion Mindset Collective Hub, and make sure that you subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And thank you for listening. And lastly, I just want to say, you are loved, you are worthy, champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.